There's three things I don't believe in: Santa Claus, Jesus, and Halloween.
Welcome back to the Limestone Podcast, everyone. My name is Patrick, and today I am joined by Matthew. Could you turn my headphones up a little? Oh, actually, no, the music stopped now. It's fine. It's just fucking deafening.
What?
Yeah, it's a bit different having these up here.
Cheers. That was very climactic.
Yeah, that's it. I'll just cut to us cheersing.
I just dribbled on myself again. Done that 2 weeks in a row. The first week was kombucha. Now it's this. How can I ever
Can't even take you out of the
recover
house.
from this? Yeah, no one can take me out of the house. Man, I didn't leave the house yesterday. Actually, that's a lie. I left the house. I went and hand delivered some anime straps
Yeah.
to Jackson, one of my
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
Apparently he lives like literally 200 meters from my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was just like, I'll hand deliver these, and then I'll go get a kombucha and spill it on myself. Didn't spill it. Last week I did.
We had a big day the other day, repacking and packing orders.
Man, those fucking orders. There's still some in there. Like, so last week, Anime Straps Go had a large delivery come. We finally got our belts. We were waiting for like 2 months. And they got delivered to the factory instead of my house, because normally we'd send it to the house and pack it from there, but just too many, as you could see. That those boxes would have taken up my entire garage. So I changed the address, the pickup address, to the factory, right? We packed them all. But Wednesday night, me, Reese, and Emily packed them, and then you helped pack them on the Thursday. And they, like, a third of them got picked up, but they sent a guy with a car to pick up like 150, like bigger than a shoe size box. How on earth do you expect a car, a Volvo that's already half filled with packages, and to like deliver 150 boxes, which is insane. And now like it, and it's totally fine. I don't mind getting these messages being like, hey, I saw so-and-so got theirs. Like, they live 2 streets away from me. Like, is mine coming? I'm like, yeah, it's coming. I need the courier to come. So I'm actually waiting for the courier to call me. So
So they're coming today to pick up more, are they?
They've said they're coming today for the last like 2.5 days, and they just haven't come. So
Yeah, right. Oh, well, at least people will get their stuff soon.
Well, the stuff that's already been sent out is being very well received.
Good.
Yes.
Good. I'm just trying to fiddle with this to get in the right spot. We should have done this before we set the cameras up.
You
but
know,
that's all right. It is what it is.
We're living on the fly. We live and learn.
That's it. So today's episode mainly after my story and my video I put out on yesterday?
Early in the week.
Yesterday, whenever it was. We were going to talk about gym anxiety and then the anxiety around filming yourself in the gym.
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
Well, funnily enough, I've got a private gym now, so I don't really have to worry. That's funny. Gym anxiety is something I still deal with, man. Like, going to a new gym is terrifying. Going to a gym at peak hour is terrifying, and going to a gym when you know someone there and you don't like speak to, or like you just know them, is also terrifying. I don't care what anyone says. Like, sure, some people don't deal with this and some people don't have this as an issue, but I definitely always did. And I think it's because I started off being bigger. Going into the gym was quite a big thing for me. Like, when I first started going to the gym, I joined Anytime Fitness, and I would strictly go between 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning. Because the only people that would go, it was a 2-story gym. Upstairs was cardio and all that kind of shit. Downstairs was the weight room. Anyone who would go between 5 and 6 would all go to use cardio and just machines upstairs, and like the free weights were downstairs. So like Elizabeth and Margaret, who were getting there before fucking working at Safeway for the day, they would go, and I would be the only one downstairs. And I was like pressing my 12 kilo dumbbells, like hoping for something to happen eventually. And like I trained in Anytimes for the first like 6 years of my training journey. So I never went to a big box gym. And then like the first big box I went to was Derrimut in Thomastown, and 5 Star in Thomastown, which is the jankiest gym you've ever seen in your life. Have you ever been there?
No.
Man, it's $2 to get in, or like it used to be $1, but it's I think it's $2.20 to get in now. And it's literally like you've stepped into the 70s.
Really?
Like, all the equipment is old. All the equipment is like old. Like, some of the machines have chains instead of pulleys.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, like it's old. None of the dumbbells match, but it's kind of like a fun gym to like step back in time kind of thing. And going to those gyms, I was like, oh, there's so many people here, and there's more than 5 people in the gym at any one time, and I'm just like, fuck, how am I? Like, not that anything ever happened, but like I would always get worried that I was using someone's equipment or whatever it might be, but at the end of the day, I was just scared of being judged.
Is that what you think the biggest reason for the anxiety
For
was?
sure. I went from like starting in the gym, being overweight, losing weight, and looking decent in the gym. That was one phase of gym anxiety. Then I went to a big box gym, and I came in the smallest person there, and now I have anxiety because I'm really fucking small, and everyone there is jerked, like fucking jerked. And I'm just like, I'm tiny compared to these guys. And then like, once you get a bit bigger and you go to there's always a bigger gym. There's always a bigger guy and, or girl or like fitter or whatever. And that just always kind of stayed with me. Now it's not so much of an issue. Like I honestly just don't give a fuck anymore. Yeah. Like once I stopped caring as much about how I looked, and not like being a slob, but like stop being like, oh, I need massive biceps or I need a massive chest. Once I stopped caring about that, I stopped caring about how other people looked and how that impacted me. But that was a 10-year long journey, man.
Yeah. I don't think I went through anything nearly as bad as that. I think originally...
Wow, make it sound like I'm a leper.
Well, the thing is, like...
Matt was really going through some troubling times.
I think I
took an arrow to the knee.
We'll come back to that in a minute. That was something I was thinking about last night.
Skyrim?
No, just like notable video game lines that you can just recite, and that's one of them I was thinking of. With the magic of editing, we're back and the microphones have all switched around.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I think what I was saying was that I don't think I went through anything nearly as bad as that, which what I was going to say is you're not the weird one, is that I'm the weird one. Because I'm sure everyone goes through some... I definitely went through some level of gym anxiety in the beginning, but I don't think it was very long, purely because when I first started at the gym, I started with a PT.
Yeah, that's a good point. Explain that, because I didn't. I hated PTs.
Well,
still do.
Oh, here we go.
Still fucking hate them.
I think the reason if you're going without a PT, or let's say even just going with a friend, that's probably a little bit easier too, because you've someone who knows what they're doing. Like, I assume you just walked into the gym and was like, okay, let's start with that thing.
I was Buff Dudes, that program.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked into a gym and was just like, I'm going to do this program and I'm not going to do anything else.
Well, yeah, having someone with you probably would have made that transition a little bit easier. So
when I started training with my best mate, that's when that's when the gym anxiety disappeared.
There you go. Yeah. So like with a PT, going in, knowing what you're doing will help me alleviate that gym anxiety. And I think because, like, again, I started at a Snap, so a relatively small gym, and it was typically filled with not older people, but like middle-aged people.
Yeah.
So like just like dads. So it wasn't like it was this big.
Dad.
Well, that's what it was.
I thought you were going to get milk.
It wasn't this big.
Come back soon.
It wasn't this big, intimidating environment with a bunch of bodybuilders in it. It was just like a bunch of older guys that had lifted since they were teenagers.
Yeah.
That were just happy to pass on advice.
Yeah, that's cool. That I never had that.
Well, you went through the hours of 5 and 6.
Yeah,
so your gym might have.
That was probably for the first like 6 months, and then I think I made progress really quickly, like really quickly. So I started going when I was working at Aldi, and like within I reckon 2 or 3 months, I was considerably stronger. Like I'd taken some advice from people at work who trained, from an old mentor of mine, RIP. And I was looking through our old Instagram messages the other day, just reminiscing, and I was like, hey, using your bench technique, I've gone from 60 kilos to 90 kilos. And I was like, that was quick. That was like not even a month. And I was just like slapping on weight. Like I was just like late teens.
Yeah.
Just peaking with testosterone.
And that's all downhill from there.
And it's all downhill from there. Actually, not quite. But yeah, for me, it was as soon as I started training with someone. But this is my issue. Like when I was starting at a gym, PTs would hassle me, and they were like, But I didn't hate PTs. The idea of a PT is fantastic. Help someone who needs help. Great. I didn't like slimy business people. And that's what I don't like is slimy business.
Yeah.
Where people are like talking to you with the intention of getting you in for a session or something like that. And at the end of the day, they do need to do lead gen and they need to walk the floor and they need to do that kind of shit. But just be a good person. That's all. Anyway, this isn't a slander PTs podcast because we are PTs, but at the same time, you don't like when people grab you in a shopping center and like, do you want to donate to the children? And you're like, I don't want to donate right now. But none of what you've just said has made me want to donate to the Royal Children's any more or any less.
You just made me hate kids more.
You've just made me hate kids more. You know what I will donate to is when I'm pulling up on Hoddle Street and there's like the firefighters who do the Good Friday appeal. Fucking all my change. There you go.
Yeah.
Go firefighters.
I don't like being solicited.
I don't like being solicited either. But that
Depends what it's for.
I don't like being solicited for my money. You can take my card and swipe it.
Yeah, I've got
$0.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story off air about that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd probably get in trouble. But anyway.
Why is Reese not here today? I know what he's doing.
Oh.
He's hanging picture frames.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He just moved into a new place?
At the beach.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an obscure one.
He's hanging them, and it's like an artwork display. So there's nothing in the frames.
Did you
no
just
walls.
think of that on the spot?
No.
Oh, did he call you this morning?
This is what he's doing.
I forgot we didn't do the intro this time.
He's hanging the picture frames.
Hanging the picture frames.
Just on like a post.
That's it.
He's getting ready for Halloween. What's he dressing up as again?
He doesn't believe in Halloween.
He doesn't believe in Halloween.
He doesn't. This is what he doesn't believe in it. I don't know how.
What does he think it's fake?
He thinks it's. He told me like I don't believe in Halloween.
Okay, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. It's not like
he's
a
like,
Santa
there's three
thing.
things I don't believe in: Santa Claus, Jesus, and Halloween.
You should put that on the next Limestone t-shirt. Welcome to Limestone. We don't believe in Santa Claus, Jesus, or Halloween. Let's get big. People are going to be like, they were talking about gym anxiety 1 minute and then Halloween doesn't exist.
Halloween doesn't exist and Santa Claus is a lie.
Somehow we got to make these more streamlined to concise.
I think these are so much more fun though.
Gym anxiety though. So, yeah, I think starting with a PT, if it's something that you're concerned about, will definitely help. Or going with a friend, even if it like your friend also is the first time in the gym, going there together and both having honestly no clue what to do will be. It will get to a point where you eventually just take the piss out of it.
I definitely agree. And going into the gym with someone that you are comfortable with, who is your friend, and if that's a PT, then fantastic. I almost was the opposite. I didn't want to do it. I really like the underlying thing with me with PTs is that I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was doing because I have a problem with that. I have a problem with not being the best at things immediately, and going to the gym was one of those things. So if my form was shit, I'd rather ignorance is bliss and not be corrected.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Then that's why it took me actually a very, very long time, like 7 years. Well, not the whole time. I didn't know they existed. But to get an online coach before I reached out because I was so against asking for help. Like I was like, I can just Google it.
Yeah, that's what people say, and then they look the same for the next 5 years.
That was literally me. I literally looked the same for, I want to say 3 years, 4 years, and like stayed relatively similar in strength. Like how many years can you continue benching 100 kilos for before you're like, maybe I'm not doing this correctly.
When did you start filming yourself in the gym?
When did I start filming myself? Doing what?
Training in the gym.
Okay, sorry. When did I start? When I started with a coach. So I first and foremost I would take some pictures in the gym. Like that was one thing when no one else was around. I'd do the old like big bicep in the mirror.
Yeah.
There's a photo. Oh, it's not on my Instagram anymore. Where I was just real fat. I was just so fat. I thought I looked big. Anyway, so New Year's Eve is when I took that photo. It wasn't until I started with a coach where he was like, "I need you to film." And it's really funny now when my clients are like, when I say to them, can you please film yourself in the gym? There is hesitance there. And I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, I understand that. But when I started with my coach, I was like, I need my old coach. He was like, I need those videos because I need to make sure you're doing your shit correctly. And that's when I started doing it. I remember the first set that I filmed. It was 140 kilo squat for like, it was a recomposer style training. So it was like 16 reps or something. It was disgusting. I almost vomited. But it was in the Anytime Fitness in Eltham. And I was just like, all right, I do this now. It's like propped up against the window so like no one sees. And then from there on out, I just filmed. Like, it's a small gym. It's hard to film, but like, you just got to do it because like I always draw the analogy back to like AFL or any sport. In every other sport, people film their performances to review it.
Yeah.
And you watch other people's games to review their performance to better improve. When you start lifting weights, you are like doing a sport essentially, and you need to treat it like such if you want to get better at it. You can't just think better form.
Yeah, because it won't work. Yeah.
You can't just think better form. Like, you have to put in the time to review your footage, learn from what you've done wrong. Because if you're looking at something and you don't know that it's wrong, you don't know what you don't know. And then you spend the time with someone who is leaps and bounds ahead of you to improve it.
Yeah.
When you look at it at that approach and you're not looking at it like oh shit, people are going to judge me, it becomes a lot easier. But it's only after you do it and like take the risk of doing it is when you see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And that's the big part. And that's hard to explain to people and be like, film yourself in the gym. People are going to be like, I'm already here.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make it even more anxiety inducing for me? Why? Well, now I wear Crocs to the gym, so I don't give a fuck.
Now you just don't care. But yeah, I think like when it comes to filming yourself in the gym, even if it's something that's just as simple as propping the phone up against the window, it's not going to be like stellar footage to send to your coach or to look over, but it's somewhere to start. And then eventually, like, tripods are becoming normal in gyms now.
Man, if you go to like Alpha Land or if you go to Zoo Culture in the States, any of those gyms.
Is that Bradley Martin's gym?
Yeah.
Zoo Culture? Yeah.
Alpha Land. Do you know Alpha Land?
That's Christian's gym.
Yes. Where there's like three factories.
Yeah.
There are tripods everywhere. It's Australian culture that is behind on the times. The States is so far ahead. Everyone's got tripods. Everyone's mic'd up. Everyone is making content because you need to if you're in this industry. But in Australia, we're just, as per usual, a little bit behind. But like it's changing. Like I see footage of people doing it in gyms that I know here. Like Sherelle Grant, she does mic'd up sessions at Derrimut. I would be so scared doing a mic'd up session at Derrimut. I've seen Costa do.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Now you'd still be worried about it?
Probably, yeah. Because I don't train there. I don't know anyone there. Like I did mic'd up sessions at Emerge. Shout out to Emerge. A very good gym. In Box Hill. Box Hill North. I would do mic'd up sessions there, and like Jackson, one of the owners, would walk past and be like, "Oh, like, do you make content?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And it was a cool conversation. But everyone there has got their like tripods out. They're posing, and it's a bodybuilding centric gym and powerlifting. So it is expected that they're competing in sports that they need to improve in. Yeah. Me, I was just making fucking TikToks.
You're like the lesser degree of content.
Yeah, I was like, I'll wait for the machines.
I think it's not something that's easy to navigate, and it's a hurdle that someone needs to get over. But once you get over that initial hurdle of just like setting the phone up and realizing that no one really cares, and the people that do care, and that like unfortunately in every situation there's going to be someone that judges you, but those people that judge, I made a Facebook post in our community group yesterday, but the same people that judge are the same people that still have like lifted the same weight for the last 5 years, that look the same, that don't make any progress and just go to the gym to move weight, still think like branched chain amino acids like the necessity, wear the fucking Harbinger weightlifting belts to do their bicep curls, all those kind of people.
I've seen those bad boys.
Yeah, and like they're not people that you need to care if they judge you or not. Like whatever they think, it's irrelevant.
I think at the end of the day, everyone is in the gym for a different reason, even though we think we're all there for the same reason, which is really, really interesting to like be self-aware about. So those people who go in to lift weights because it helps them with mental health or it helps them feel good, whatever it might be, That's different to someone who's losing weight.
Yeah.
That's different to someone who wants to get better at lifting weights.
Mm.
It is different, and it needs to be understood as much. Like that's how people work.
Yeah. Do you think everyone needs to film themselves?
No.
No.
But if they, I don't think everyone needs to film themselves. But if they want to get better, it will. And if they want faster progress, it will significantly help.
Yep.
So it's not like you have to do it, but everyone will benefit from doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you set up a phone to film and you are so anxious that it stops you from working out. And that is another kettle of fish that you need to approach in a different manner. So
how would you overcome that?
How would I overcome someone who's too anxious to film? It's a great question. It's come about a couple of times. I've dealt with it differently every time. But the way that I would approach it now, if someone was struggling to film and I just started with them, so if it was a new client, I just signed up, just say they're doing 12 weeks, the first month, I would say we're not going to film. We're going to work on getting confidence in the gym first. Because if they're anxious to film, they've probably got general gym anxiety too.
Yep.
So the first 4 weeks, having them on a plan, a regimented plan that they follow and know exactly what they're doing every single time they go into the gym will definitely increase confidence. And if they complete all of those sessions, then we can move on to the next step, which is filming one exercise, one set for the whole week.
Yeah.
Right. So the one thing that is the easiest thing for them to film, that might be a set of bicep curls on like the bicep curl machine that's hidden away. Or like here, we've got the calf raise machine upstairs. Don't care if it's upstairs, away, around the corner, out in the parking lot. One easy filming.
Yeah, it's just exposure therapy.
Yeah. And then
builds up tolerance to it.
From there, you do one, the next week you do two, the next week you do three, the next week you do one from each session. All that, like just general exposure therapy, like that, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
That's the way that I would approach it. If that's not well received, then I can have that conversation and say, look, what's your goal? Is it directly related to getting significantly stronger? And is that a massive priority for you? Or is your priority more to repair your relationship with food, minimize just the general gym anxiety and get a good result? Because at the end of the day, you don't have to send training videos. No. But it definitely helps.
Definitely helps. You start with your phone and then you end up with $1,000 camera with $1,000 lens.
Oh, mate, I had once upon a time, I had the Gorilla tripod, like the Gorilla Pod, the Casey Neistat special, the DSLR, the microphone on top. I almost bought in a flash.
Oh, really?
Like a lighting thing.
Jesus Christ.
It was just like that was back in the day when I was making content and I was like, everything needs to be perfect before I can do it.
Yeah.
That was a facade as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'd cover that in a whole other episode because that's something that we've been doing a lot lately. Worst case scenario is we can do another one after this, depending how much time you've got. But what else is, for those looking, I'm looking at our whiteboard with our list of topics on it because we forget all the time.
We get distracted.
We do.
Dad gets mad. He doesn't really. He's hanging picture frames. How could he be mad?
That's it. So I think we'll come back to, let's do RPE. So let's talk about RPE and what it means to train hard. So in essence, what is your synopsis or what is your idea of someone training hard?
First and foremost, RPE, rate of perceived exertion. So I just like to... Okay, so RPE is... Man, it depends on who you ask these days.
Well, let me give you a scale. So the scale I use, like to get it, like you can use like the textbook scale, whatever it is, but the one I use to get across to clients is that if you can hold a conversation while doing the set, you're not training hard enough. And if you're not making faces, you're not training hard enough.
I have some people that are absolute stone faces though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So no, the way that I do it, and that's a good way for most people that would work. I just say, how hard was that? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being your absolute limit, you cannot physically do another rep or you failed the last rep, and 0 being it was air. How hard was it? And people usually go, oh, about an 8.
They overshoot.
They overshoot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. If that's an 8, let's use that as a baseline. The next week, they go, they increase their weight or whatever, and we just go from there, right? So for me, bringing this back onto what RPE is and not what people do wrong. RPE to me is just a personal scale. It's not anything that can be measured against someone else's RPE because things feel different to you that they feel different to me. So it is a gauge that you can look back on and think, how hard was this on any given day? Did I push myself to a 9 to 10? Did I push myself to that almost failure or to failure?
Yeah.
And that's where this conversation needs to head, because that the pushing yourself to failure, why is that important? Or close to failure?
In terms of intensity, it means everything.
Yeah. In terms of intensity, why?
We'll kind of go. I don't want to go super in depth with the whole programming thing. We've got episodes on that, and we'll do a whole episode dedicated to that again. But in terms of programming, when it comes to structuring out a training sequence for someone, you've got two camps that people sit in. You've got a lower volume, higher intensity model, and then you've got there's technically three. There's a higher volume, lower intensity model, and then there's, so far out of the spectrum, the high volume, high intensity model.
Then there's the other side of the spectrum, which is me, low intensity, low volume.
Just done my 3 sets of curls and then I'm out for the day.
It's done.
And RPE needs to be, it's not necessarily lower RPE. That's probably not the easiest way to describe it. But when looking at doing a lower volume model, intensity needs to be higher to match or make up for that lower volume, for those volume sets, reps, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You're doing less in a session, but you're training harder in that session to fit more in a week, do more in a week, shorter sessions, more intense sessions. Then you've got the opposite end of that spectrum. That's where you're doing more in the gym. You're spending more time in there. Let's say you're doing, 25 to 30 sets in a session.
Disgusting.
It is. I can't stand doing it, but to accommodate for that amount of volume across a training week, your RPE is going to be lower, or it's going to be higher at the beginning of a session, and then as you get further in, it's going to naturally get lower because you're starting to tax yourself.
Yeah.
That is where RPE matters in a session.
Yeah, so that's where it matters. And for me, I very, very, very rarely program high volume. Like I very rarely do low intensity, high volume, because I think for habit building or client buy-in, working harder for less time is more desirable.
Yes.
So working at a higher intensity, so pushing the 9 to 10 RPE for 40 minutes is much more desirable than a 6 to 7 for 2 hours.
Yes. I'm slightly different. If I get on a consult with someone and they say I've had previous coaches, I kind of ask some baseline questions to kind of gauge where they're at in their training history. Most of the more advanced people, they will come into 14 to 15 sets of workout, max are probably 18, and they know what RPE is, and I tell them what the expectation is. Their first week of form videos, I'm like, cool, that wasn't hard enough, you need to go harder. But then I've got some people that come in that are only 6 months to a year into their training journey, and I'm not going to be the kind of guy that's like, okay, you're doing 14 sets this workout, because I know for damn well fact that you can't train at a 10 because you've never been exposed to it.
Good point.
So teaching someone by giving them a program with a little bit higher volume but a little bit less intensity, or RPE, whatever, and then over time teaching them how to do that 10 out of 10 RPE, then transition them to a lower volume program, because they're not going to get the same result if they're doing less volume but only training at a 6 or 7.
This is true. I think this is where we potentially differ in our clientele. Like, having come from outside of Lionstone, working with predominantly Gem Pop, and then coming into Lionstone and working more with physique-based clients, you've probably had more exposure to that over however long. How long have you been coaching? 2 years?
Coaching with Lionstone for 2.
Yeah.
In-person PT, this is probably like my 6th year.
Yeah, true. So, when I was before that, I was just working in person and also online. My clients' needs were more based around building the habits of going to the gym.
Yep.
So the gym was important. What they were doing was going and doing something was infinitely better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
So bringing that into and then teaching them how to train hard. Of course, I wouldn't expect people to be within their first week of having not trained, be that wasn't hard enough. there's a build up. But that's a really good point, and I haven't thought of it for a while, is that if you're training someone who's advanced or intermediate at least, putting them on high intensity, low volume versus someone who is a freshie, still kind of knows how to train, but needs to build up that tolerance, you could make a lot of progress in an 8-week program.
100%.
Being like, okay, train harder. Okay, do more.
Yeah, yeah.
How often do you do that? How often do you start someone on a high volume program?
Now it's pretty rare because most of the people that either request me or come to me as a consult have trained before, so it's not super common. But I will get the occasional person that's like, I'm pretty new and I want to I've got friends that have trained with Lions Den before, or referrals from current clients where they're their first month into the gym. So even, pardon me, to gauge where they're at in terms of form, it's just easier to start someone on a higher volume, purely because at the same time, if they're very, very new, they're going to get taxed pretty quick.
Yeah,
So-
just no matter what they're doing.
Yeah, and I should preface that by high volume, it's probably more of a medium volume. I'm not looking at pushing someone to 35,
sets.
40 sets a work. I know people that do that.
Man, I used to do that.
Yeah.
Like my own training, I used to do 30 to 40
Yeah,
sets
yeah.
a session.
People complain that they're sore, and that's probably the reason why.
Well,
So
this is the thing. I think I was doing 35 to 40 sets. My intensity was pretty high. I was also 19, 20,
Yep.
peak testosterone years. Well, not really peak testosterone years, but high testosterone years. And I wouldn't be overly sore the next coming days because I was doing that kind of high volume on back and chest and shoulders, not legs.
yeah,
Legs was few and far between.
yeah.
But I used to drive that kind of volume because I would spend 3 hours at the gym and my rest times would be significantly longer than that.
And I was the same. I would go 2 times a day, and I've got people that come to me on consults now and be like, "Oh, I want to go 6 days a week." I'm like, "Man, you could probably do that if you were training at a low intensity with a super relatively high sets and volume. But the way I want you to train, we're going to go back to probably 4 to 5 days, depending on your job."
That was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn when I first started getting coached.
less is more.
I trained 7 days a week for 3 years straight,
Mm.
give or take a couple of days for holidays.
Mhm.
I was training so much that that was probably why I was plateauing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started with my first coach and he was like, I'm going to cap you at 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. And he was like, who's the coach? And I was like, you are. It's like, you're doing 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And going down from 7 to 4 days a week, I got a weekend. I was like, I got my weekend back.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm actually resting.
Yeah.
And my training sessions, I got significantly stronger so fucking quickly.
Yeah.
Within 3 months, I was putting insane numbers up in a deadlift. I think I went from a 220 deadlift to 250.
Yeah, well, you're not beating yourself into the ground.
Yeah.
Because I assume what you were doing, like a lot of most people do, is every week they're trying to pull max effort deadlifts.
I was doing for the most part I was. So I would do 5x5 strength training.
Yep.
But it would more be 5, 5, 3, or that's feeling good, 1.
You're doing that every day of the
And then
week.
5, 5. Yeah.
Yeah, well, systemic fatigue will build up pretty damn quick, or central nervous fatigue will build up pretty damn quick and just drive you into the ground.
Yeah. And I was constantly getting injured and I was constantly had niggles and I constantly had just issues.
Mm.
And it was insufferable. But that's the thing. I loved it.
Mm.
I loved going to the gym so much because it was the outlet of the day.
Yeah.
But also it was fun. I loved lifting weights and being like, oh, I wonder if I can lift this.
Mm.
And just having no real plan behind it led me astray for so long.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was kind of forced to pull it back and be like, no, this is not good. This is bad.
Yeah. I think there are a fair few people that can get away with going 7 days a week, and it all comes back to, that too. If you didn't say that on camera, yeah, that too. But even then, that's a whole nother episode there. But they're you can. I change my tune a lot on this a lot. When I first started programming like this, I was in the camp of, it's I've spoken about it before, there's camp mentalities of programming and coaching. But the more I look at it, the more you sit in the center of those two camps, the low volume, high intensity, the high intensity, or the lower into medium intensity, higher volume. Like the more you sit in between the two, you find a better balance of both.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I
The
don't.
yin and yang, baby.
That's it, exactly that. I don't suggest people go 7 days a week, but like if you're just going to the gym just to go to the gym and just like it's something to do,
Oh man, if you're just going to ride the bike for a bit, do a couple of sets of arms.
7 days a week, like I don't recommend it if you're training for any kind of like
if you
actual
want any kind of result.
yeah, that's it. Like or long-term sustainable result, I don't recommend you do it. But like at the same time, you can go 7 days a week, and if you're going in there for an hour and just piss farting around on the bike and doing a couple sets of leg press, like you be fine.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's the thing. Like I do some form of physical exercise every single day of the week.
Yeah.
Like if I train, these days I'm still recovering from fucking injuries. But if I am going to the gym, like I'll do that in the mornings. I'm back on mornings again, which is good. But every day of the week, every Monday through Friday, I'll probably come to the gym.
Yeah.
When I'm not injured, I'll try and get 3 jiu-jitsu classes in as well. So that's, again, I'm enjoying it. It's not the best thing for physique development and or like muscle gain. Different for strength. Like strength will be impacted and endurance will be benefit from jiu-jitsu. And then on the weekends, like I'll go for a really big walk or whatever it might be. So like I'll do something every day.
Yeah.
And no one's saying you don't have to do that. But if you want optimal results, it's probably not the best thing.
But and I think the last topic here is Pat's return to gym.
Jim spelled J-I-M.
I'm back.
It's his boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm back. So
What changed for you?
I was fat.
You were fat?
Am fat.
Sorry, that was just a self-inflicted burn.
Yeah.
Okay, so why going to the gym now that you're self-conscious about how you look? Why is gym the answer?
Well, I could lose weight a million and one ways, but at the same time, I want to get big.
Yes.
And lean, and I don't really want to sit on the bike just pedaling away for hours on end. And I feel I get way more out of doing a heavy set of bench press than I do walking on the treadmill. So that's why I returned to gym. But it also, what I've started doing is coming back to filming ourselves, as I'm filming pretty much every session I do now.
Yeah, good.
Irrespective of whether it's just like phone, just to look at my form back, or to film for content. Like that gym vlog I did, I filmed yesterday's workout too, which will be, I don't know, I'm not going to put them out sequentially. I'm just going to film a bunch of workouts.
You should do it sequentially.
What do you mean?
You should do it like, you should upload them. You should film them and upload them the next day. Because how many days a week do you train?
5.
Yeah. Do it. Film them on your phone though. Don't do them on your camera. Yeah. Phone is ample. Trust me. I film my daily vlog on my phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You need an iPhone 14 though.
I know. That's why I like using these, because they're in 4K and they look terrific.
Yeah, but also the barrier of entry. Anyway, you're filming your sessions.
Yeah. It like making this training content holds me accountable.
Yep.
And then once I don't know if I had this conversation on the podcast or it was with Reese, whenever it was, but once I get good with something, it starts the ball rolling, everything else falls into place.
I was going to say you stack your habits.
Yeah. So like I'm not going to fucking say I've won it yet, but it's only been like 2 days, but food has been perfect.
Rocky Balboa's back.
That's it.
Point Cook's finest, Patrick Balboa.
That's me. But yeah, like food's been good, steps have been good, productivity has been better.
Productivity breeds productivity.
Yeah.
Once you get the ball rolling, many balls can start rolling. Right? You know, do you remember lawn bowls?
I know what it is.
You know lawn bowls,
Yeah.
So like if there's a ball that's stationary, right? Say that's one of your old habits.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there. But if you roll another ball at it, the other ball will move too.
That's
the
it.
shittest analogy I've ever heard in my whole life.
Yeah, it makes sense though.
But it's true. Like if you hit multiple balls on the way down, all of them are going to start rolling.
Yeah.
And like even if you just nail one thing, this is the fucking power of waking up early. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's one good habit, other good habits are a lot easier to do.
Yep.
So if you can just do one fucking thing, like wake up early, make your bed, Like all of that shit where people are like, I don't know why people say make your bed. It's because you're doing something good. You're getting a little dopamine. You're like, oh, I accomplished something. Fucking accomplish something again.
Yeah. Do you make your bed?
Do I make my bed? Yeah, most of the time.
You do?
Sometimes I don't. Emily doesn't. Fucking. Sorry, that was loud.
I haven't made my bed in years.
Well, it doesn't have to be make your bed. It could be filming your set.
Yeah,
if you film your training session, you're going to train harder because it's on camera.
Yeah.
If you're filming meal prep because you want to make content, you're going to make it better. You're going to make sure things are portioned out better. You're going to make sure it looks better. You're taking pride in what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you take pride in what you are doing, or if you are pushing yourself because there's someone else watching, it will have a knock-on effect.
That's true.
It is not easy to just start things with no accountability.
Yeah.
But so if you're holding yourself accountable through videos, if you're holding a coach accountable through videos, if you're holding yourself accountable to social media, whatever the fuck it is, it's going to help you pick up other habits in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good.
I'm up and about.
You're ready to go.
I'm feeling good. Because I'm honestly, like, I'm back as well. Like the last couple of weeks, I've been rolling the ball, but it's been missing other balls.
Yeah.
But this week, I literally set an alarm Monday morning. Well, Emily set the alarm. She had to be up at 3:50 for work. I got up at 4 and I was like, yeah, cool, we're gassing.
Yeah.
Like, and then since, every morning woken up since.
Yeah.
Like, it's only a couple of mornings, but everything else has been perfect.
Yeah. It's a habit of a routine.
Routine, but also just like momentum.
Yeah.
So momentum for me is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Like
I heard this yesterday from a client who, the story, like she had a bad morning, and typically when she has bad mornings, it ruins the rest of her day. So what she said to me was, she heard this somewhere, so I'm going to steal it. And if someone said this, credit to you, but to break your day up into quarters, instead of it's one full match, it's 4 quarters throughout the day, and don't let one quarter ruin the rest of the quarters for you.
Shit, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm going to steal that and I'm going to make that into a post. So thank you.
So look at your day as 4 quarters instead of
one whole
day. So what's 24 divided by 4?
Dude, I don't know. 24 divided by 4. 6 hour blocks.
6 hour blocks. So 6 hour blocks, which 2 of them will be significantly slept in. So even if you discounted the time that you're awake, so you're awake for how many hours on average?
15, mate? No.
15, no, more like that. 18 hours?
Yeah, 18 hours.
18 divided by 4. I need the maths.
18 divided by 4 is 4.5 hours.
So 4.5 hour quarters, right? Yeah. That's a long time. But also, even in that, if you want to break it down again, a 4.5 hour quarter, divide that by 4 again, you got 1 hour quarters.
Yeah.
You can break that down all the way to seconds into the exact present moment. Why would I let something that just happened impact me in the future?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you've heard the bank account analogy. I'll see if I can remember it.
It's like if someone takes $1 out of your bank account. Yeah.
Like and like it's like something like, would you spend $10,000 because of it?
Yeah.
Like minutes in the day.
Yep.
No, you wouldn't. But at the same time, like building that momentum and being able to be self-aware, because that's what that is, self-awareness, being like, I am in a state of upset or anger or whatever, and not being emotional, will keep you accountable as well. It'll allow you to just keep fucking pushing the needle forward.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, that was a 50-minute episode. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you go and rate 5 stars on Spotify, like on YouTube, subscribe.
If there's anyone that you think needs a bit of a kick in the bum when it comes to training hard, send this to them.
Yeah, and I'll come kick him in the bum.
And I will come kick them in the tush. Apart from that, don't forget, share it on Instagram.
That's it.
Tell your mum I said hi.
That's it.